And we're off to underwatertimes.com. Jeff Dudas joining us in Miami this morning. Morning, Jeff.
Hey, how you doing, Wammo?
Very good, thank you very much. First story involves a mutation found near a nuclear power plant, Jeff.
Yes, this is Life Imitates the Simpsons, and this is back in 1990. There was this episode of The Simpsons. It's kind of a famous episode where Bart catches this three-eyed fish and tries to serve it to the evil nuclear power plant owner, and this fish was caught right next to the nuclear power plant.
I remember that episode, yeah.
Yeah, and he wouldn't eat it. Well, as it turns out, in Argentina, these fishermen were out fishing, it looks like at night, and they reeled in a fish, and I didn't quite notice it at first, but then they got a flashlight out, and they noticed it was a little strange, and sure enough, it had a third eye. And what's also, sort of the story is, it was caught right next to a nuclear power plant.
Huh. And was
they have like these heated, outflows from the towers, and it was caught right in that area.
And was the eye like right in the middle, like the Simpsons fish?
Yeah, it's almost like a cyclops, sort of smack in the middle of the head. There, sure enough, there's a third eye.
Wow, was it like a cod or something?
They didn't say what kind of fish. I guess it's a lake fish, so maybe some sort of bass or something. I didn't catch that.
Now, is this completely unknown in nature? I mean, or does this just happen sometimes?
Well, this is extremely rare, and so this is fishermen, probably a good thing. They didn't eat the fish; they decided not to eat it, and they're going to send it off for testing to figure out what's up with this fish. Is it a true third eye? Is it a mutation? Is it radioactive and all that stuff? But
wow,
okay. You never know. There was a story a couple of weeks ago about the cyclops shark, and so
yeah,
you never know what nature will serve up.
That's true. Sometimes it serves up 22 magic items.
Yeah, this is a very strange story out of Saudi Arabia, and I'll just sort of let you hear about it here. This government sponsored a cleanup of the beaches, and they sent out divers, and they ordered this big thing. And this happens around the world where they do these things, these periodic cleanups. So 100 divers went out. They brought back 4 tons worth of waste that they pulled off the seabed and the beaches, and they started going through this waste, and they discovered 22 talismans. These magical items, and so they were concerned about that. These are involved in magic spells, so they took them to the Commission for the Promotion of Virtue and Prevention of Vice, the local commission, and they examined these devices. The anti-magic committee of this commission examined the devices, and they found out, and this is where it gets strange, that the devices were still active. The spells were still active. Someone had thrown them into the ocean with an active spell. So they had to neutralize and destroy these talismans.
Okay. How do they determine a working spell, do you think?
This story raises many questions.
It does, doesn't it?
I don't know if I'm comfortable with pursuing the answers, but...
Pull them out of the water and someone says, them's working talismans.
Right. I don't know if, how they didn't get into that. I'm not even sure I want to know, but it was everything's safe now. Is the good news.
Okay.
These talismans have been deactivated, so everybody's happy.
Good news. All right, moving on to our final story, where we find out the humble washing machine may be causing quite a problem.
It's another one of those stories. Something else to worry about. Microplastics, and scientists have been studying this, and these are sort of like microscopic bits of polyester and acrylic, like smaller than the head of a pin, and they're all in the oceans. And sort of why is the question scientists are looking at, and they sort of narrowed it down that if you look at like heavily populated coastlines and such, this stuff is everywhere, all over the shore, and they traced it back to washing machines.
Wow.
Specifically, you have like these synthetic clothes, with polyester and such, and every time you wash them, they say like 1,900 fibers, wash away. And these go somewhere. They go through the sewer systems, and depending on the quality and such of the sewer system, some of this stuff may not even get filtered out. It just goes right into the ocean. And sort of the worry is, you have filter feeders in the ocean, you have fish eating other fish, and sort of going up the food chain, and everybody's ingesting this plastic, and and we're maybe the top of the food chain. So, along with everything else, we're eating a bunch of acrylic and polyester and all the stuff it breaks down with. And
we're eating our own clothes.
Right. So, another reason, cotton clothes or natural fabrics look like probably a better thing to wear. But
then the problem with cotton, of course, is all the water that goes into making it.
So, there you go. So, damned if you do, damned if you don't. But, it's definitely not a good thing to have all this plastic. There's all these islands of plastic floating around in the ocean. So, another cause.
I guess the solution perhaps rests with city officials around the world and whether or not their sewage treatment plants can handle these microscopic pieces of plastic.
It's even worse than that. I'll give you a little story here in South Florida. There's a big sewer pipe that goes out about 200 feet deep in the ocean, or I don't even think it's that deep. I think it's about 120 feet, and blast out sewage. It's partially treated, and have divers go down there every once in a while and take pictures of it. But I mean, that's just regular old regular sewage that gets thrown out in the ocean.
Yeah. That happens everywhere, I suppose. Well, Jeff, hey, thanks very much for those stories, and people, of course, can find them at underwatertimes.com and a whole lot more there as well, and we'll talk to you in 2 weeks.
Yep, thanks for having me.
It's now